Life is short. I want to be the best that I can be. Let's get into it. So, I there was a period of my life about 2 years ago when I was really, really starting to hit my stride. I was working out every day. I was working towards credentials that were going to help me have a really lucrative career. And there was a positive outlook that I had about my life. And I retain a little bit of that to this day. But generally speaking, it's kind of up and gone away. I'm looking to essentially get that back over the next 3 months, and I'm fairly confident that I should be able to do that. Being in your 20s is a really difficult time because you're trying to figure things out, and you're expected to know everything, but truthfully, you really don't. It's just kind of this, I don't quite have a word for it, right? But your 20s are really just all about figuring stuff out, and you don't have it figured out yet. And truthfully, the last 2 years I haven't had stuff figured out, and that's quite all right. But I guess that's what the next 3 months are about, is really locking in and trying to see exactly where I want to go with things. So this is kind of the game plan that I have for myself. I have a couple of concrete goals that I really want to pursue, and I intend on pursuing those things. The first is improving my physical fitness. My goal is I want to be able to bench 200 pounds by this time next year, or 215 by this time next year. I think that that's typically the benchmark people go for, and I want to be able to compete in the Charleston, South Carolina half marathon that usually happens around January of every year. So I have about 5 months of solid training in front of me, and I can run about 2 miles right now, about a 10-minute mile. Not great, but movement is movement, right? So these are kind of some metrics as far as fitness are concerned that I'm really working towards. I also just want to look better. Right now I'm sitting at the heaviest I've ever been, about 245 pounds, and I'd really, really like to get back down to my goal weight of about 185, 195 pounds. And I think over the course of 5 months I can make some really solid positive progress towards that. In addition to that, I have some professional goals that I really want to make. I want to be able to kind of get my business up and running again, and I have a nonprofit that I started at the beginning of this year that's kind of been foundering since I got eyes off it to pursue my professional career I'm currently a part of. So my goal is that by January 1st of next year, I'm going to have my website up, and I'm going to be able to start taking in revenue both for my business and for my nonprofit as well. Those are the goals that I have outlined. Next up, let's kind of discuss a little bit more about my game plan, specifically regarding the fitness and what I think my week-by-week goals are going to be for the next 8 to 12 weeks, and we'll go from there. So when we're looking at physical fitness, particularly weight loss, and of course building up endurance, one of the things that you're really going to hyperfixate on is cardio. And there are a couple forms of cardio that I really enjoy and can kind of appreciate. One of them is walking and running. I do love walking on my weekends around town. I typically will clock anywhere from 8 to 12 miles on a given day, which is really, really great, but it's not consistent. And when you account for the fact that I walk maybe 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day when I'm working from home or I'm working my office job, it kind of balances out, and maybe I'm walking about 4,000 steps a day on average. Not great. So goal number one, obviously, is to get my step count up, whether that's through running, which is going to be something that I'm going to be doing, or also just going on walks in the morning or the evening. I live about a half a mile away from my gym, so as opposed to the convenience of driving to my gym, I can walk to my gym and get about a mile's worth of walking in, or about, I think, 1,800 steps, right? Great. In addition to that, I do enjoy other things like boxing and swimming, and I hope to incorporate those things as well into my weekly workout routine. My gym has all of these facilities, so it should be relatively easy to do. On top of all of this, there's the element of weight training. And weight training to me is really important because building muscle is really good for a number of reasons. Having lean muscle mass helps improve everything from just your general hormonal balance to your quality of your sleep to improve memory function and things like that. Prolonged weight training actually has shown to reduce the potential for neurodegenerative diseases, things of that nature, and actually like reduce other things like cancer and what have you. So it's a really good lifestyle prescription to have on top of building out a healthy diet, right? So I think I'm going to do like a 3-day split, 3 days a week or 4 days a week where I do push-pull legs, or I do kind of segmented by, like legs, arms, I forget, like spot training, something of that nature. So we're going to give that a shot as well. It's kind of just a general gist. I'll probably swim about 2 times a week and then box once or twice a week as well for about 15 or 20 minutes, just to kind of get those skills going, mix it up, and kind of keep it fresh. I really enjoy boxing and I really enjoy swimming. It's just a good way to sort of dial in on one task where you're doing one thing without having too much burnout, without throwing out too much of your body. Now, there's the element of kind of keeping it interesting. And so for me, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to implement some fitness challenges into all of this. One of them I really want to do is to build up my capacity for pull-ups. I used to be able to do like 10, 12, 15 pull-ups, no shot, which for me is kind of impressive. Now I can barely do one, and it's partly because I've put on so much weight, right? But we'll get to that. It's everything's built around progress, right? So I'm going to implement these kind of challenges. I want to implement a 30-day running challenge, and my goal is to basically, for the first 7 or 8 weeks of this sort of training regimen, I really want to just improve to the point where I'm running an additional half mile every week. And with that, maintaining a 10-minute mile on average, right? Which I think is pretty doable. It's about 6 miles an hour, which is what I feel like a lot of people who are just jogging on a treadmill can do. As I push it out to kind of a 13-week timeline, I want to be able to dial it into about 8.5-minute mile. Because I feel like if I can do an 8.5-minute mile, then that's about a 3-4 hour. I should probably do some calculations on this, but a 3 or 4 hour, probably about like a 2-hour half marathon. That's pretty good, I think. 1.5, about 2 hours. Yeah. So being able to run a half marathon in about 2 hours, I think is really good for somebody like me who's never really run endurance for that long before. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can kind of film another video with maybe like my workout schedule up here or something like that. But ultimately, the goal is probably every day of the week in the AMs I'll do run, followed by a little bit of a walk perhaps, and then some kettlebell training because I've got a kettlebell I can carry with me in my car. Do early to mid-afternoon workout at the gym, and then finish off at the end of the day with like a light walk or something like that for about a mile or two. And from that alone, I should be burning enough calories that I can kind of keep my current maintenance calories of about 2,500 calories a day without, having to dial that back. I can kind of burn more, consume the same amount, and not really feel too much of an impact on my life. So we're going to give that a shot and see what happens. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's very much in flux. So I would love it for you guys to kind of stick around and follow along as I kind of go through this fitness journey, because it's not for certain, and I feel like there's just not a lot of content out there where people are actually showing their journey from square one. So this is day one for me. Diet's not dialed in. Finances are not dialed in from a business standpoint. My fitness isn't dialed in or anything like that. So we're here. We're now making an effort to sort of affect change. And if I can do it, you can absolutely do it. So yeah, leave a like, follow, whatever. Stick around. This journey is going to be like fantastic, and I'm really excited about it. So till then, I'll catch you guys later.